Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Monday morning to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the show. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Jarrett Construction Studios. Right on time, right on budget. Visit Jarrett-Construction.com. And we're brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group. Your next ride and your next service can be found on US 119 from Chapmanville to Logan to Belfry, Kentucky. Start your drive online at thornhillautomotive.com. Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor on Virginia Street. Tony's hand-tailored bespoke trunk show. This gets underway and runs now through Saturday. Custom tailored jackets, suits, and trousers. Buy one, save 25% off, or buy one at regular price, you get one free. For more, visit Tony's Facebook page or bestmastertailor.com. Happy Monday, as if there is such a thing. And as I said, happy St. Patrick's Day. I am not wearing green today. I'm sorry. I never really got into the whole thing. I could have wore some Marshall gear, I guess. No, I'm rocking the blue and the black today. So, there's my St. Patrick's Day spirit. Coming up on the show, we crowned 4 new girls high school basketball champs this past Saturday at the Coliseum Convention Center. And by the way, congratulations to all the champions. And a reminder that all 4 championship games are available to watch in demand anytime you want at Metro News Television. Maybe you're at the games and you want to check out our coverage. Either way, they're available for you at Metro News Television. Now we get ready for the boys' state tournament, which begins tomorrow morning. The voice of high school sports in West Virginia, Fred Persinger, will join us for a preview coming up a little bit later on the show today. Plus, always a good time when this guy stops by. Senator Mike Stuart is here. Now, if he is confirmed, he will be joining the Trump administration. But until then, whenever that may be, he's got some things on his mind. And you may, based on our conversations, we were texting back and forth the other day, you may be surprised at some of the things that are on Mike Stewart's mind. So we'll talk to him about that. Plus some other things in the news, and your calls and texts are always welcome too. The Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. Well, we are now 1 week away from the grand experiment here, Metro News Midday, hosted by myself and from WOWK-TV 13 and Tonight Live, Amanda Barrett. The show will air noon till 3, not only here in Charleston, but statewide via the Metro News Radio Network. And at least parts of the show will be on Metro News TV. And it's kind of complicated, but due to contractual reasons, we won't be able to show Miss Barrett on Metro News TV, but at least the 2 to 3 o'clock hour will be on Metro News Television. And we're planning on starting that, I think, next week with Coop and Weekly on Hotline, too, also on Metro News TV. Exciting stuff, really. And I just want to take time to thank everyone at Metro News and WVRC Media for taking a chance on this show. I've been doing radio now for 37 years. I made appearances on Metro News and some national radio programs and TV programs, but never on a consistent basis, and never really a show quite like this. So we've had all the meetings. We got more meetings coming up and all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Now I guess we have to get to work and do a show. And I've had several people that have asked me how the show will look or sound or both. And I can tell you that the noon to 1 hour will be a news format show hosted primarily by Amanda. I will join during the second hour before we send her on her way down the street to her other job, and then I'll handle the 2 o'clock hour solo. And the way I envision this, the 2 o'clock hour is going to be your time. and your time to weigh in on the subjects of the day. Now, I'll give a lot of my own opinions, just about as much as I do on this show daily, but I still prefer to leave the bulk of it up to you via the phone lines and the text. We will be booking guests, on the show, but I really the vision of this thing is for it to be West Virginia's show. And again, it's not going to be heard only here in Charleston, but the same show will air in places like Morgantown, Clarksburg, Martinsburg, Elkins, et cetera, et cetera. So please remember to put your teeth in and put on a bra before you call the show. Again, it starts next Monday, noon till 3, daily, replacing Dan Bongino, who is off to join the Trump administration. We are excited about it. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Bridge Valley, offering custom tailored trainings to supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu. I do want to put this out there. Over the weekend, we lost a former member of the radio ranch here, the family here at 1111. Mike Fitzgerald was heard for several years on our sister station, 96.1 KWS, most notably part of the morning show with Miss Amanda, not Amanda Barron, but the other Amanda, when the station was known as The Wolf. Mike had a litany of health issues, and he passed away Saturday in Florida. That's according to his daughter. And I'll say this, Mike was a true radio guy. He had worked at several places up and down the radio dial of America. He and I never worked together, but certainly knew each other well and became really good friends. We worked several events together, but never worked under the same company umbrella at the same time. But I was thinking about this yesterday. I can remember one particular day that really sticks out to me. And you may remember, if you go back to sometime 2008, 2000, maybe through 11 or 12, something like that, that Massey, the Massey Coal Company CEO, Don Blankenship, used to have this big party, a huge event on 22 Mountain, which straddles both Mingo and Logan counties. Now, Don brought in all the big names for his employees and their families. I'm talking about folks like Hank Williams Jr. and Ted Nugent and Toby Keith, the late Toby Keith, and even brought Sean Hannity in one year. Don was not shy about spending money to advertise this event either. So Mr. Blankenship bought time, and he bought live broadcasts from every radio and television station around, from Charleston to Huntington, Williamson, Pikeville, Beckley, Bluefield. We were all there at the same time. And I guess the statute of limitations has run out, so I can tell this story now. If you're familiar at all with this, the area that was known as 22 Mountain is a big old place. I mean, it probably stretches 30 miles, as I said, and it kind of darts in and out between Logan and Mingo counties. So, as I said, we were all up there. And when you have that many radio and television stations up there, space can be an issue. So they asked some of us to try to carpool if we could. Now, I was working at the time at WVW Radio in Logan, and it really wasn't a big deal for me up there. I left my car in the community of Omar, and I caught a ride up the mountain with a buddy of mine who actually worked at Massey. And I figure I know everybody in southern West Virginia. When it's time to come off the mountain, I'll catch a ride with somebody back to pick up my car. So cut to the chase. End of the day comes. And I'm looking around at this motley crew of radio people. And there were three of us standing there together. It was myself, Mike Fitzgerald, and the late Al Woody from Crosstown WQBE. And with some folks up there, some alcohol may or may not have been involved. And I remember that whoever that Al Woody was riding with in their station van had left. So here we are, Mike, myself, Al Woody, all on this mountain. And you have to keep in mind that Al and Mike and their stations were big-time competitors at the time here in the Charleston market. Now, when I was at WVW, our biggest competition was from Williamston and Pikeville and places like that. So for me, hanging out with Mike or Al was really not that big a deal, but apparently it was for them, especially had their respective station managers, programmers, and whatnot found all this out. So Mike offers to drive me and Al Woody off the mountain. So we all pile into what was then the Wolf radio station truck, which I think is still the truck we're driving today for our sister station 98.7 The Mountain. It's been wrapped and rewrapped a couple of times. So away we go. Mike Fitzgerald, Al Woody, and me. And Al only had to get to Logan because, as many of you may know this about the late Al, he had a variety of side hustles, and he was working the night shift at Lowe's of Logan at the time. Then getting up the next morning to do the morning show on WQBE, and somehow we all made it off that mountain and had a whole lot of good stories on the way down. Al, of course, passed away a couple of years ago. Now we lost Mike over the weekend. So our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to Mike and his family. He passed away in Florida. He was one of a kind, to say the least. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is presented in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Great season of Dirty Birds baseball coming up at Go-Mart Ballpark. Tuesdays, $2 Tuesdays with $2 tickets, popcorn, hot dogs, sodas, and more. Wednesdays, you can bring your dogs to the park for Woof Wednesday. Thursdays, Thirsty Thursdays with $1 beer and water. Fridays are Freebie Fridays with all sorts of giveaways and fireworks after the game on Saturdays, and Sundays are family fun days. Kids 12 and under get in for free. For more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. State Senator Mike Stuart coming up a little bit later on the show. Also, the voice of high school sports in West Virginia, Fred Persinger, will be stopping by to review the girls' state basketball tournament and to preview the boys' state tournament, which gets underway tomorrow at the Coliseum and Convention Center. Let me knock out a couple of texts here before we go to break. Text says, Dave, thanks for having Mike Pushkin on Friday. Well, yeah. Text says, I really hope that Democrat Pushkin is paying for his time on your radio station. Well, I mean, Mike is the state Democratic Party chair, and he is he represents this area. So no, he does not. None of my guests are paid to appear on the show. I'm barely paid to appear on the show. Okay. Text says, while you keep going after Dave Allen, much of what you say about him is actually true. You have to give it to him that he was smart enough to partner with the very talented Amanda Barron on the new midday show. That show will be a huge improvement from what we currently see on Metro News TV. I don't know who that was named after. Text says, Dave, you're a veteran supporter. Did you hear about the West Virginia Medal of Honor recipient Charles Calvin Rogers Page being taken down by the Pentagon and replaced with a 404 error in DEI medal? I hope there's some uproar from our federal delegation. If not, I'm pretty sure I know the reason why, says the texter. Text says, Mike Stewart's confirmation for the sake of West Virginia cannot come soon enough. All right. We'll talk about Mike about that, what he's allowed to talk about, coming up a little bit later on the show. I say because, there could be things he's not allowed to talk about. So he can talk about what's going on in the legislature, though, and we will get to that with Mike coming up a little bit later on. Older adults should protect themselves against severe respiratory disease. Talk to your doctor about flu, COVID-19, and RSV vaccines. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text, 304-935-5008. The voice of high school sports in West Virginia, Fred Persinger, coming up next. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
Owning a home comes with responsibilities. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Office wants to remind you of a very important date. As of April 1st, unpaid 2024 taxes are considered delinquent. If you haven't paid your taxes by now, you have until May 1st to avoid publication. Remember, after April 1st, you cannot pay the half-year fee. You must pay the full year amount. Again, May 1st is the deadline to avoid publication. Visit canalsheriff.us to learn more about paying your 2024 taxes.
Nobody does President's Day like Thornhill. Hey, it's Sydney, inviting you to Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile, where you can find the best of the best in presidential savings. We're talking Benjamins. New 24 Ford Escape or Bronco Sport, available up to $6,500 off. 24 F-150 STX, up to $8,000 off. 24 Expedition, up to $14,000 off. You want it, and Thornhill has it. Plus, Thornhill's 10-year, 150,000-mile warranty with your new purchase. Visit us online at thornhillford.net and on the road to total savings, US 119 Chapmanville. Qualify for all offers through Ford Motor Credit. See Thornhill for all details.
Foundation issues? Wet basement? Drainage problems? Contact Foster Foundation Repair. Locally owned and operated by a licensed professional engineer, Foster Foundation Repair provides rock-solid service with certified results. Contact us today for a free evaluation. Foster Foundation Repair. Rock-solid service. Certified results. FosterFoundationRepair.com. West Virginia Contractor License WV061105.
923 Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Huston's Pizza. This month, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a pepperoni calzone, $21.99. Eat in, pick up, or get delivery. Find your closest Huston's at HustonsPizza.com. Boys State basketball tournament gets underway tomorrow at the Coliseum and Convention Center. This past Saturday, we crowned 4 new girls state champions. The man who called a lot of that action and who will again call the action this week is the voice of high school sports in West Virginia, Fred Persinger, and he joins us now. Fred, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm sorry. Good morning.
Voice hasn't gone yet.
Not yet.
Probably will by the end of next week.
What's the possibility?
So you did the Mountain East tournament a couple weeks ago,
right.
And then you drove. They had the meetings in Parkersburg, and then you did the girls tournament this week, and then you rinse and repeat, as they say, because you had to go back to Parkersburg yesterday, and now you're going to do the boys state basketball tournament as well.
It's a wonderful time of the year, isn't it?
It is a wonderful time.
It really is.
Like you said to me earlier, I stuck my head in your office before I went on the air, and I stuck my head in and I said, "Are you tired yet?" And you said, "Well, I've done this before."
I have.
So you kind of train yourself, I guess, to get ready for these marathon days, right?
I think if you're doing something that you really enjoy, you don't think about it.
Yeah.
I honestly, no exaggeration, I get to the Coliseum here in Charleston during the tournament Tuesday through Saturday by 7:15 every morning, and I don't leave until 11 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go outside. That's it. I mean,
you don't know what it's doing outside.
I have no idea.
It could be doing anything. Before we get in to the state tournament, but since everybody else has been weighing in on this, and I know it's going to be talked about in detail on Metro News Talk Line with Wilson and Meadows today, what do you think about WVU not making the NCAA tournament?
Really, I think in retrospect as to who knocked them out of the tournament, that's hard to believe, but name wins. North Carolina is a name. I don't know how many tournaments they've been to in a row, 137 or whatever it was. But honestly, West Virginia could have done themselves right by beating Colorado. Maybe Colorado, you're in, okay? Mm-hmm. Maybe not, though. Maybe not, because there was another scenario in there because of UAB and Memphis and all that nonsense it had up. But again, you got to take care of business. I thought, here's the problem. 111 brackets for the, Joe Lenardi and CBS and all the other stuff they do. 111 out of 111 had West Virginia in. So I think Mountaineer fans were thinking, okay, we're in. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They're in. And then all of a sudden you're not in. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Who knows? It's a crazy, crazy world. I don't know what they're going to do. I know they're not in the NIT. That's already been pushed out. I read or heard or something that the Big 12 is contractually obligated to do this Vegas tournament of 16 teams. And if that's the case, West Virginia may be in that. I don't know.
But the women's team is in the NCAA tournament, so a lot of folks will be turning their attention that way.
And it's close. They can travel to watch the Mountaineers play. So, and that's an exciting team.
Oddly enough to Carolina.
Yeah. La.
Can't write this stuff.
No.
All right, so let's talk about the girls' tournament. Over the weekend, 4 champions were crowned. Was it everything you thought it would be? Any surprises, standout performances?
Oh, there were a lot of standout performances, no question. And, the 4 championship games were all All right, here we go, Fred. They're horrible. They were horrible. I mean, from a fan standpoint.
Oddly enough, your good friend of mine, Speedy Bevins, and I were having coffee this morning, and he said and Speedy will be on the state the boys tournament. Speedy said the same thing.
Yeah, it was just not. It was great basketball, but it wasn't good basketball to watch. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The winners, they played extremely well. The losers, they did what they had to do to lose. They did it well. So I think the boys will be better. Mm-hmm. I hope so. And again, I'm a firm. I've said it thousands of times. West Virginia doesn't need 4 classes, and this is what you get. And somebody said, "Well, but they're here." Okay, fine. The last memory, if I'm a senior, the last memory I have of my high school career getting beat to death. I don't want that memory.
Yeah, right.
I don't want it. I don't care where it happens. I don't want it. So West Virginia is not a state large enough to have 4 teams or 4 classes in any sport. We're just not. Accept it. And don't say it's the everybody gets a trophy thing that I don't like. I just don't care for it. I don't think that's the way you do it. I think we lost a lot when we went to the new regional formats where the sectional tournaments were fun. I mean, that was exciting time for all schools. Now they're gone. Now you're a part of whatever number of teams are in your region, and that varies from region to region.
Right.
It was just like I was talking to Rick Green from George Washington. He's in. His team is in a 3rd seed. And deservedly so. And he was saying, I had to beat one team to get to the state tournament.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with that? A lot of things, he said. A lot of things is wrong with that. So this system that they put into place this year, not good. I don't know if they're going to change it, but that's up to the principals and folks that be like that. Not the SSAC, okay? Don't get on them. It's up to the principals.
Okay.
They make the rules.
All right, so let's get to the boys' tournaments.
Yeah.
Top seeds.
Oh, yeah. Class A, Tug Valley, Class AA, Williamstown, Class AAA, the top seed is Bridgeport, and in Class Quad A, the top seed is Spring Mills. Now, last week I said I thought AAA was the toughest bracket in the girls. I think Quad A is certainly the toughest bracket in the boys tournament coming up. 1 through 8, and I'm not exaggerating. I think 1 through 8 could win it. And, of course, only one will, and certainly Spring Mills is the team to beat right now. How about Spring Mills and Martinsburg? They are in the same town almost, and they have to travel 300-some miles to play.
Yeah, we could just do this up there.
We could have done it. 2 weeks ago we could have done it. Yeah. So that's, but there's going to be some good matches. I think Spring Valley and Beckley will be good. I think Morgantown, Parkersburg South, Mike Fallon is the head coach of Parkersburg South. A great coach, and certainly well know what Dave Tallman's doing. I think a good note too, Dave Tallman from Morgantown is in, and Dave Tallman, his dad from Magnolia, is in. And it happened 25 years ago.
I was going to say, has that happened before?
Well, when Dave Tallman played for Dave Tallman, it did.
Okay.
As a player.
Yeah.
So that's a great story. And hopefully we'll do a story on that on the network, and I'm sure we will. But there's a lot of good storylines. When you look at Single A, Tug Valley's a very good team. I've seen them play. Tucker County is always around. They're that blue collar type of team that's you love to watch play. They're the 2 seed, and in Class AA, Williamstown, as I mentioned, the 1 seed, the 2 seed, Wheeling Central Catholic. If those 2 teams can make it out, I think that'd be a heck of a game. Bridgeport, I think, honestly, is a solid number 1. I will be surprised if anyone really gives them any trouble. Maybe Shady, and Shady will only meet them if they get to the championship game because they're in 2 different brackets. And Fairmont Senior, Dave Retton, his team is back. He's a 4 seed. He could meet Bridgeport in the semifinals if he beats Chapmanville. But Brad Napper, and Chapmanville Tigers are always fun to watch.
Yeah,
so
always.
We'll see what happens there. But, I think it's going to be a great tournament. It starts tomorrow morning bright and early at 9:30 with the Class Single A teams getting with the Class AAA teams. That's what it is. AAA plays mostly tomorrow, sandwiched in with a couple of Quad A games, and it's a strange scheduling, but it rotates every year, so I guess it's fair for everyone to get. For AAA, for example, if you win on Tuesday morning at 9:30, you won't play again until Friday at 9:30.
And as a coach, how do you feel about that? I mean, if you're a coach, you got that, you come off that win. And then you're thinking, I don't play until practically next week.
But it's about the same schedule you have in regular season. Tuesday, Fridays when they normally play.
That's a good point.
Here's the deal, though. If you're a team that is close, you just go back home. Mm-hmm. Kids probably go to school sleep in their own beds, do the thing you practice just like a normal regular season week. But how about a team like, let's use the farthest team away. Wow, they're kind of lucky. I guess the farthest team away is Elkins. Do you take your kids all the way back to Elkins just to return if you win? Or do you wrestle with them in a hotel for 3 days? I don't know. So I guess that's a decision the coaches get to make. But yeah, it's a fun week. No question about it. It's a great way to wrap up the high school basketball season rather. And I'm sure we'll have some good games. I'm looking forward to a number of games on this schedule. So 32 teams are down, and we'll see what 4 go home with the big trophy.
Give me one, if you're looking at your sheet there, at one game that sticks out to you as this is, whether you're calling the game or not, but the one that is most intriguing to you. Is there one, or maybe I'll follow that up by saying, or a certain player that you are really looking forward to seeing next week?
There's a lot of great players, so I don't really go down to players exactly.
Right.
But the game, and I'm actually on the call. The game is Wednesday night at 9:00 in Spring Valley and Beckley. I think that will be a great, great game, and both teams are very good. Both teams are solid. Both teams have everything you need as far as height and speed, and they both play mostly alike, in-your-face defense and that kind of thing. So I think that's going to be a great game. That's in Quad A. If you look at each class, real quick, I think Nitro and Ripley is going to be a good game. That comes up on Wednesday morning at 11:15 in Class Single A. I think the best game in the first class is probably going to be the last game Thursday night at 9, Greater Beckley Christian and St. Joseph Central out of Huntington. 2 private schools going after one another that really have a good pedigree of players, and they're always. It's been a while since St. Joseph Central's boys team has been there, so looking forward to seeing them. And then I think in Class AA, if we could get out to if both these teams get to the semifinals, Westside and Wheeling Central should be a heck of a ball game.
All right.
Now, your Logan Wildcats, they play Tuesday night rather, at 9:00, and they get Wyoming East.
Mm-hmm. I think they split in the regular season too.
Yes, they did. So very familiar with each other, and that's a good thing as well.
All right. Fred, we will be listening, of course, the daytime action locally on Charleston's ESPN Radio, nighttime action on WCHS, and, of course, all 4 championship games will be on Metro News TV. Great time to remind you, if you haven't done so already, download that app. Fred,
yes.
I'll leave you alone next Monday, I promise, okay?
I'll come in and just say, hey, what happened in the tournament?
Yeah, there you go.
No problem, buddy.
All right, Fred Persinger, the voice of high school sports in West Virginia. Always a good time, the most wonderful time of the year, the girls and the boys states basketball tournaments. And again, I got to get a plug in for my alma mater, Logan Wildcats. All right. Text says there were a lot of people on Twitter who are not Mountaineer fans that were ticked that North Carolina was gifted a spot. Even the hosts of SiriusXM College Sports Radio are angry. Yeah, I saw a lot of that too. Text says, talking about basketball, Morrissey is wanting to sue to get WVU a tournament spot. So what are they, a DEI team? I thought we were about meritocracy in this state. WVU's season didn't merit a tournament spot. Also, Morrissey has only one move, sue, sue, sue. Can we call him Susie? Says a texter. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Fresh Air Filters of Tays Valley. Fresh Air, your trusted filter experts for both your home or business. 304-440-1104 or visit freshairfilters.us, because everyone deserves fresh air. Mike Stuart, state senator, coming up next. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for supporting local small businesses.
Injured? Call Morgan & Morgan. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. We'll always be here for you.
Office 222 Capitol Street, Charleston. Cases will be handled by West Virginia licensed attorneys. The attorney in this ad is not licensed in West Virginia. ForThePeople.com.
We all want what's best for our kids. Safe, healthy choices. But some politicians, right here in West Virginia, are going way too far. They're pushing a ban on safe ingredients in our grocery stores. That ban would jack up prices on almost everything we buy. Banning these types of ingredients would eliminate 60% of the food on grocery shelves, hiking prices even more when we're already struggling. Worse, it would cost thousands of jobs all across West Virginia. Governor Morrissey can stop this reckless ban and veto it. We just can't afford it. It goes way too far. There are more sensible solutions. It should be our choice, not the government's. Call Governor Morrissey at 304-558-2000. Tell him to keep growing our economy and stand with hard-working West Virginians at yourcartyourchoice.com. Paid for by Americans for Food and Beverage Choice, with support from the American Beverage Association.
23 minutes away from 10, Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles all sorts of pressing health issues, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and more. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles and beyond the great state of WV. It is a valuable resource for all. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetronews.com, under the podcast menu, and start your journey towards better health today. Coming up on tomorrow's show, State Attorney General J.B. McCuskey will be here, and Amelia Isley from West Virginia Watch will be on the show tomorrow. State Senator Mike Stuart is here. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and start with this and say this seems to be on everybody's mind over the last 12 hours or so. Go ahead and weigh in on WVU not making the NCAA basketball tournament.
Well, it's a travesty, of course, and I'm like everybody else. I was really upset by this. Even more so that the University of North Carolina seems to be the team that replaced us in pure metrics. We'd like to think it's based off merit. Right. Mm-hmm. But this clearly wasn't based off merit. But when you lose to a number 16 seed in the tournament, you introduce doubt. And when you introduce doubt, schools like West Virginia get cut out. And so next time, what I'd say is we got to win those games against the number 16 seeds and finish our business. And but I think we could have done some damage in this tournament. It's terrible.
I'm going to give a really unpopular opinion here real quick, and then we'll move on. First of all, let me say I'm 100% thinking that WVU should have been in the big dance. No doubt about it. I get it. People are frustrated, and I think they have every right to be. However, I think sometimes people forget that college athletics, like it or not, is a big business. And it's all about butts in the seats, and it's all about ratings, et cetera. And as bad as we don't want to think it's true in West Virginia, many people would say we're probably not the national draw that North Carolina is.
Well, let me cut you off here, though, because the Big 12, we've gotten in college athletics. This is unfortunate what's happened. Mm-hmm. I was one of those kids that grew up. I love college athletics. I love college basketball, college football. But what has happened, the professionalization of college athletics is turning people off. When you get the SEC and the Big Ten getting all the dollars, getting all the television time, you take great programs like those teams in the Big 12, a lot of other programs just like us. We're not competing on a level playing field. Not at all. And I acknowledge that fact. But when 14 teams out of the SEC make the tournament, and I know this is not a sports show. There's a problem with it, though. There's a problem when marginal, not so good teams in the SEC are making it over good teams that competed, like West Virginia. But it's not just, I don't think it's a problem with this tournament. It's a problem with college athletics. They are turning off places like West Virginia to the current state of disaster of college athletics in America.
We had a text here. Somebody sent me a tweet from the Voice of Morgantown that said, not sure if there's ever been a more clear-cut case of corruption in college athletics. Why are athletic directors making these decisions? What's clear now is that Bubba Cunningham just made $100,000 at West Virginia's expense because he, of course, with North Carolina and got a little bit of a bonus there. All right. So did you happen to check out my Dave editorial over the weekend? Humor me and tell me you did. No.
I did. So tell me what it said.
All right. So basically, I said, Mike, and I knew that you're a guy that will discuss this with me. I said, I remember a time where Republicans were all about smaller government. And it seems to me that many, not all, want government more involved in their lives. And maybe it's more on, there's some here, but there's also some on the national front as well, going after free speech and things of that nature. A lot of folks on the GOP that are calling for big government on a lot of things, Mike, when they they didn't want it all those years before.
Well, listen, you've asked a question that we could spend hours talking about. I talk about this all the time. I try to be intellectually consistent with my views here. I believe in smaller government. I believe in people. If you look at the bills I'm sponsoring, most of them are about people, and especially kids and families. But I think there's something to what you're saying, which is that we have two parties within the Republican Party today. We have the traditional small government, which does the least, does best. And then we have the other group of Republicans that are really the old Democrat Party that seem to think that bigger government doing everything for everybody is the way we should be doing things. And so I fall into the first camp. I believe that government, which does not more than it's supposed to do and empowers people, is probably the best government we could have. But I don't disagree with you.
So we're at day 34, I believe, of the legislative session. And to be honest, Senator, not a lot of bills being passed.
Well, I think there's a lot of bills being passed, but there's nothing that I think your listeners could say mean a whole lot to putting more food on the table or fixing the roof or getting their kids through school with better test scores. And so I appreciate that frustration. And so I think this session, you have these sessions periodically. We got a brand new governor, still getting his sea legs from becoming governor. That's a different role than being attorney general. I think he's doing a good job trying to figure out how all of the pieces work together. And then we have 10 new members in the state Senate out of 34 members. 10. That's a huge percentage of folks learning how to be state senators. And over on the House of Delegates side, another huge turnover. And so I think you'll see some good stuff come out of this session, but we passed some huge bills over the past few years, taking down taxes in massive ways that I think you can't do that every single year. You got to have some revenue come in the door. But keep in mind, there are some big issues coming out of this session. Child welfare, I believe, is the number to me, and I think to many of the people listening to your show. Child welfare, the crisis we have in child welfare in West Virginia, to me is number one. It is the intersection and bullseye of both the economy and those social issues that we care about. And when you have federal judges and state judges and people in the system saying the foster care system, our CPS system, and the court system don't work together, it's broken. We got a problem, right? This should be a red flag SOS going out to all West Virginians. We had a bill in my committee. We brought the Secretary of the Department of Human Services in. We offered help. The response we got back was, thanks, but no thanks. We can do this on our own. But I've heard this before. And so I'm going to take another bite at this apple next week. It's going to be a bigger bill. I think we need this roadmap. We've got to fix this system. It is in crisis. And when you have 6,000 kids in foster care in West Virginia, when you have the top state in the country for grandparents raising their grandchildren, when you have the opiate crisis that we do, this is a critical point in time where there is buy-in across the board. We can't miss this opportunity.
Talking again with State Senator Mike Stuart. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues, allergies, respiratory problems, and more. Pinnacle offers specialized indoor air quality services for residential, commercial, and industrial type settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. Yeah, it's interesting that I'm glad you brought that up, because I circled that in my notes here in this post that you did on X last week, and you called the failed child welfare system in West Virginia, as you just said, the intersection between our economy and social fabric. And when I saw the exchange, if you will, the dialogue back and forth between you and the gentleman that you referenced earlier, you got a little heated there.
Well, listen, I care about these kids. If you look at the bills I sponsor, in fact, the next job I'm getting ready to undertake, right, if I get confirmed by the United States Senate and get a chance to work with Bobby Kennedy and the whole team at the Department of Health and Human Services, there is no position, there is no entity in the country that touches more families. I'm talking children and folks who really need help than the Department of Health and Human Services. So I'm excited by that challenge. But as I finish up things here in West Virginia, and if you look at the past, most of my bills touch on families, whether it's the Cohen-Craddock student athlete safety bill, a critically important bill that will transform the way we view safety for our kids competing on fields and courts and tracks all across West Virginia. Or when you look at the Joel Archer Substance Abuse Intervention Act, which will be for the first time ever allow West Virginians who have dependent children, 18 to 26 years old, today, if they have a substance abuse problem and you want to get them help, you can check them in. They'll agree to go, but they can check themselves right back out. They're an adult. This will allow a parent of a loved one. We call it Joel Archer Substance Abuse Intervention Act because Joel was one of those adult children that didn't get the help, didn't allow the help to be brought to him and couldn't get long-term treatment. But this will allow parents or a loved one to try to go get that mental hygiene, a determination that they're abused to drugs, that they're a substance abuse person in terms of their use of whether it's narcotics, fentanyl, heroin, whatever it happens to be, and get them in voluntary long-term treatment, a chance to save these kids, those faces that fill my wallet. And so this is a bill that could have big impact in terms of trying to turn the corner on a substance abuse crisis that is not going away.
And Senator, I will say this: the things that you brought up there. I mean, I think that's where our focus needs to be. Now, it's easy for me as a member of the media who has never served in the legislature to sit back and criticize, but I want to see more as a voter. I'm saying as a taxpayer, I want to see more focus on things like what you're talking about here, and a little bit less on a lot of the social issues.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm not in any of the so when you get to the state senate or the House of Delegates, there are cliques that develop, and
sure, yeah.
And I'm not in any of those cliques. I'm pretty independent. I think most folks will tell you Stuart's pretty independent, but I try to keep my focus on what matters to my constituents. We're going to run a bill today. I think it comes out of my committee that's going to provide a utility rate credit, not tax credit. Utility rate credit for folks who just don't have reliable water service or reliable electricity service so they can get a generator or a water buffalo. Listen, we got folks in Lincoln County, Logan County, Boone County, McDowell County. I can keep going. If they have any water, it's brown water. This is a problem. We've got to fix these issues. We can do this, right? This isn't rocket science. And when it comes to electricity service, we can't pay our bills. We're tapped out. I hear from folks that just don't have $1 left. But how about the reliability of that service, right? Why are the trees still next to the lines across West Virginia? I thought we learned in the derecho that if there's not a tree above the power line, that tree can't fall on the power line and make the power go down. There's not a little storm that happens in West Virginia, not a little snowstorm, not a little windstorm, where we don't have absolute havoc for folks. And it's over and over and over again. We've had it with bad customer service. We've had it with not being able to call these utility companies and get an answer as to when my service will be restored. And we've had it when the wind blows a little bit, or we get a little bit of snow or a little bit of ice, and all that power goes down. People in West Virginia deserve reliable electricity, and they deserve clean, potable water. I've said it over and over. If we have to spend more money on this, that's what we're going to have to do. But I've had it, and I know my constituents have had it, and I think most West Virginians have had it, paying exorbitant rates for utility services, but getting crappy service. And I hate to use that word crappy, but let's be honest. A lot of times it's crappy service. It's got to improve.
Talking to State Senator Mike Stuart, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. We'll take a break. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
In the medical field, Generations is growing and looking to add on job-trained physical therapy techs to our rehab team. To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
I'm Doug Leach, founder and CEO of Ascension Recovery Services. We've done a number of projects with Jarrett Construction. Finding people that really care about what they do and care about what we do is pretty unique. In Jarrett Construction, they care. They're really, really good people. Good people do the right thing, and they're very skilled. They have all the qualities that make up just a perfect construction partner, and they just build us a phenomenal building.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett Construction.
Banking is not just about numbers. It's about people. Are you connected? Without a community bank, your financial journey might feel lonely. And who will you turn to when life gets complicated? From checking accounts to loans, Poca Valley Bank has you covered. We are here to support you with personalized service and genuine care across our 8 locations. Poca Valley Bank, your community bank where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com for more information. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
Running a business is a challenge. Keeping up with the latest skills doesn't have to be. At Bridge Valley, you and your team can take one class and gain certifications like QuickBooks, Lean Six Sigma, and more. You can even stack those credentials toward a degree. And you may be eligible to go tuition-free with West Virginia Invests. Keep your business running smoothly while your team grows. Flexible, affordable, and 100% online. Bridge Valley, stackable credentials for career growth. Enroll today.
Spring has sprung at Yared's. Shop Yared's in the Bridge Road shops for the latest on-cloud and Birkenstock shoes for both women and men. Plus designer handbags, accessories, and shoes from Tory Burch. Don't miss Yared's spring selection, including their huge assortment of jewelry and accessories. Free gift wrapping available. While you're here for the tournament, come shop in between games for that special someone or yourself. Yared's at the Bridge Road shops, Charleston. Call 342-SHOE. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Saturday and 12:30 to 5 on Sunday.
8 away from 10, Piggly Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text, 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Snap Fitness. Snap has a wide array of professional wellness services, customized personal training, licensed recovery experts, and a staff of dietitians in 5 convenient locations: Charleston, Hurricane, Winfield, Barbersville, and Milton. Visit snapfitness.com for details. Text says, just in, WVU did not accept an invitation to the College Basketball Crown in Vegas. Fred referenced that a little bit earlier. Also, as of this moment, they have not accepted an invite to the NIT. And as for numbers, the Mountaineers had 6 quad 1 victories this season. The last 3 teams in, UNC Xavier and San Diego State, had 5 quad 1 wins combined, says a texter. All right. Text says, Mike Stuart, are you ready? You ready for the criticism here?
Let's go. The haters, your ratings go up because the haters of Stewart, they must get together. They have parties whenever I come
and we're not
on
invited.
Yeah.
Text says, Mike is nothing but talk. What has he actually done for the 6,000 plus children in the state's custody this session? What specifically?
Well, let me tell you, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. During that hearing, I think I gave the example to the secretary, and we proposed bill after bill after bill. I talk about these things all the time. Why? Because it matters that we fix this system. Despite that opiate crisis, while I was U.S. attorney, and now I get more messages from parents, people who are concerned about this system than I do any other subject. And during that hearing, I said, this reminds me of the guy who's drowning on top of his roof, and he says, God will save me. Mm-hmm. And here comes a rowboat. And he says, no, God will save me. Water's up to his waist. Then next thing you know, he turns it down because he thought God would save him. And next time a helicopter comes by, water's up to his neck. And he says, no, don't worry. Get somebody else in that helicopter. God will save him. Well, the guy dies of drowning. And when he's before God, he says, I thought you would save me. And God said, I sent you a boat and a helicopter, and you chose neither of them. That's my point here, is that we can do better than what's happening in our child welfare system. I need everybody. We need we've got to solve this crisis. It is a moral obligation we solve this crisis. I need everybody who's listening and who's cynical and who believes that it's all about talk. Start calling your legislators and call the governor's office and call the secretary. And let's get a sense of urgency to fix it now. Waiting till next year is not okay. Waiting till the year after, not okay. I'm getting ready to head to Washington, I hope, to be able to help work on these issues on a national basis. I care about these things desperately. But I need your listeners, whether they love me or hate me. Get on that phone, wear out your legislator, and tell them you want something done about this issue today.
Quickly on the Cohen-Craddock bill, that's a young man who was tragically killed, the Boone County youngster, and you have been a big part of this. You came on the show. We talked about the guardian caps and everything. Where is this now?
Well, it passed committee. It is appearing before the Finance Committee. Then it will go to the Senate and hopefully to the House. This is an important bill, the Cohen-Craddock student athlete safety bill. It's not only about guardian caps around the helmets. That's a small piece of this bill, but it creates a a grant program. So I don't care whether you're playing lacrosse or volleyball or involved in track. It will allow folks to get free money basically from the state. Every school to be able to improve on safety for all the kids all across West Virginia. But I'll tell you, one thing that became apparent to me, we need these types of things. You know, Cohen Craddock, when he died as a result of what happened on that football field, to this day, there's been no full-scale investigation of what happened on the field. It's an outrage. And I got to tell you, whoever's responsible, they need to get their work done. You know, Ryan Craddock to this moment does not have the football helmet that his son was wearing on the field that day. I cannot imagine the pain, the anguish that you would feel every single day.
And you've been quite critical of the SSAC.
I've been critical because they insulate themselves from any sort of improvement. And they say they support this bill. If they support it, I want to see them out there openly supporting it. This is a great bill for student athletes across West Virginia. The SSAC, listen, I served a FOIA on them to sort of test their transparency. They rejected giving me, they said nothing. We're giving you nothing. And so this organization reports to no one, does its own thing. I'm very disappointed in that there's not greater transparency with the SSAC. And the fact there's been no investigation of the death of Cohen Craddock. I'm not going to blame anybody for that, but where's the leadership? There ought to be something come out so that we understand exactly what happened that day. His family deserves that. His family deserves that.
Text says people are still dying every day and their kids are wards of the state. Less than 30 days left in the session. Do something.
Listen, I'm trying. Listen, like I said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I'm one member up there. I'm speaking loudly on this issue. Anybody who's listening will tell you I'm screaming off the rooftop about the issues of child welfare. I want these things fixed. We cannot continue down this path. It is an embarrassment to the state of West Virginia. And I think it's more important than any economic issue or social issue we're dealing with right now. We've got to make sure that we're responding to the needs of these kids and we fix it.
Let me ask you quickly. You kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. You still got to go through confirmation. I don't know what you're allowed to say at this point, so don't want to get you in any kind of trouble as we wrap up. But 30 or 45 seconds, what is your next career step? What is the next step?
Well, we're getting closer to those confirmation hearings, but if I get the opportunity, I want folks to understand how big this is. It's good for West Virginia, and it's the National Institutes of Health, the CDC, Medicare, Medicaid. Being the general counsel of something this big, the Office of Refugee Resettlement, the Bureau for Children and Families, all Indian Health, to be in a position where I can help lead efforts to be able to deliver critical services to folks who need it, desperately need it. I'm excited by that opportunity. And let me say, this is about West Virginia, not about me. But real honor to be so early selected by the president to serve in this role.
Say, Senator Mike Stuart, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, TJ, what's up on Talk Line today?
Sorry, I dropped my list there. Brad McElhenney at 10:06. How do you follow Stewart anyway? Coming up at 10:33, we'll talk with Cecil Roberts. He's retiring from the UMWA. We'll get his thoughts. Sherman Joyce, who's president of the American Tort Reform Association, joins us at 11:06. That and your phone calls and texts and tweets, Dave.
All right, we'll be listening. Coming up at 10:06. My producer was Ryan Nicholson. Thank you so much. Coming up on tomorrow's show, Attorney General J.B. McCuskey will be here, and Amelia Nicely from West Virginia Watch. WVRC Media, download the app and also download the Metro News television app as well. See you tomorrow. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS-AM, W243-DRFM Charleston, and W283-AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here, too.